Feeling cornered and facing the threat of severe punishment, he eventually confessed everything to the investigator. He explained that all along, he had been forced to comply with Moni's demands after returning from his gym training. At first, he felt sorry for her, especially since she often complained about how her husband never paid her any attention. This led to the unfortunate incident in the trainer's boarding room, which happened 3 times on different days. However, after feeling guilty about it, he refused to comply with Moni's requests the next time. To his shock, Moni had secretly recorded their encounters and began using the footage to blackmail him, threatening to expose everything. Hey, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into another chilling real-life story that actually happened. This one comes from Sihanoukville City, Cambodia. It's a complicated story, but trust me, it's definitely one you'll want to hear. So what exactly happened in this case? Let's take a closer look and break it all down. Before we jump into the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to share the story with your friends. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. So here's the story. There's a guy named Sam Nang who works for a tech company in Sihanoukville, Cambodia. Sihanoukville, for those who don't know, is a port city known for its stunning beaches and is one of the key economic hubs in the country. Sam Nang was born in 1991, and he's a quiet guy but super friendly. In 2018, he started dating a girl named Moni, who worked as a cosmetic salesperson for a big brand. They hit it off really well, and by October 2018, they were married. On the surface, they seemed like a perfect couple. Sam Nang was responsible, independent, and loving, while Moni, with her charm and innocent nature, really knew how to keep her husband's attention. They rented a simple house on the outskirts of the city and started their life together. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Moni was a bit spoiled even after marriage. She had a lot of demands like asking her husband to buy her a car, upgrade to the latest phone, or take her on trips abroad. Being used to attracting attention while selling cosmetics, she had no trouble getting what she wanted. Sam Nang did what he could, but sometimes he had to say no, especially when it came to things like spending money they didn't really have. For example, when they went on a honeymoon to Malaysia and Singapore for almost 3 weeks, Moni was all smiles. But when her husband had to say no to some of her other requests, like buying expensive things, Moni didn't take it too well. One time, she even ran away to her parents' house in Prey Knob for a week. Sam Nang eventually had to go pick her up and apologize, promising he'd do better and fulfill some of her wishes. He even agreed to start her subscription to a beauty clinic and a fitness center in downtown Sihanoukville, hoping it would keep her happy. So, starting in January 2019, Moni began her regular visits to a beauty clinic in the city center and signed up for a gym membership. Sam Nang's salary at the tech company was decent, but it wasn't endless, and with Moni not working anymore, their main income came from Sam Nang alone. Moni didn't seem to care about the financial strain and continued with her beauty treatments and gym memberships, all at the clinic run by Dr. Vutha. Dr. Vutha, 29 years old, had been married for a year to his wife, Lida, who worked as a health consultant. They didn't have kids yet, probably because both of them were busy with their careers. Dr. Vutha was the one handling Moni's treatments, and the two of them started texting frequently, even exchanging cell numbers. It wasn't long before Moni began consulting him regularly on WhatsApp, and that's where things started to get interesting. So, Moni didn't stop at just the beauty clinic. She also joined a gym and hired a personal trainer. And, of course, she picked the trainer who caught her eye, Sam Bath. Sam Bath was good-looking and charming, and even though he was married, his wife lived in the village to care for her sick parents and their 2 kids. Sam Bath rented a small room near the gym where he worked, and it wasn't long before he and Moni hit it off. He was friendly and social, and after just a few training sessions, Moni asked for his WhatsApp number so she could reach out if she had any questions. At first, Sam Nang didn't think much of it. He still checked Moni's phone every now and then, and there was nothing unusual in the messages. It was all just chats between Moni, the doctor, and the trainer. Totally innocent, right? Even though he felt a little jealous when Moni got absorbed in her phone, he brushed it off, thinking she was just asking about skincare and fitness advice. After all, Moni was already beautiful in his eyes. Flawless skin, a lean but perfect body, no wrinkles or blemishes. He thought she had everything she could want, but of course she still kept asking him for money. Whether it was for treatments to remove eye bags, lighten her skin, or even tone her body in specific ways, Samnang just kept nodding along, agreeing to whatever his wife wanted to avoid the constant back and forth. Then, in early February 2019, something unexpected happened at Dr. Vutha's clinic. There was a scene that grabbed everyone's attention. A man named Bunna lost it and attacked Dr. Vutha because he suspected that his wife, Sapheep, who was also a patient at the clinic, was having an affair with the doctor. The incident quickly went viral on social media, and Samnang saw the video. Naturally, he brought it up to Moni and asked if she knew anything about it, since Dr. Vutha was her doctor too. Moni explained that Dr. Vutha had been in touch with Sapheep's mother and reassured Samnang, saying, "I know her. I've seen her around the clinic a few times. It's no big deal." Samnang, not wanting to cause trouble, just gave her a warning to be more careful around the doctor. But the seed of doubt was planted. A few weeks passed, and things seemed to have settled down again. As usual, Samnang took Moni back to the beauty clinic for another round of treatments. But this time, he decided he didn't want to stick around and wait. So, he stayed in the parking lot while Moni went in for her appointment. That's when he ran into Mr. Bunna, the man who had attacked Dr. Vutha a few weeks earlier. "Oh, hey there. I remember you from the clinic," Mr. Bunna said, walking over. "Just a heads up. Be careful if your wife starts getting mistreated too." Samnang, surprised but trying to be polite, replied, "Oh yeah, I remember now. I hope everything's okay with you." Mr. Bunna didn't seem done, though. "I'm just warning you, man. I used to trust my wife too. But the money? That said otherwise." Samnang smiled awkwardly and walked away, but those words stuck with him. Still, he told himself that everything was fine. His wife was loyal, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. He trusted her. Meanwhile, Moni was still sticking to her gym routine, training with her personal trainer, Sambath, a few times a week. Everything seemed normal until March 5, 2019, when Moni asked Samnang if she could go visit her family for a few days. She mentioned it ahead of time, so Samnang didn't think twice about it and gave her permission. He didn't want to upset her, and he figured it was just a family gathering in her village, so it should be fine. What Samnang didn't ask for was proof of the event. He trusted Moni, and she even had a video call with him that night before bed, which he took as a sign everything was good. But the next day, while Moni was still in her village, Samnang decided to take a quick look at her social media account. He was just curious and figured it couldn't hurt. That's when he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. He clicked on Dr. Vutha's profile, and sure enough, there was a story posted by the doctor. In the story was a picture of a room that looked strikingly similar to the one Moni had been in during their video call the night before. And, to make things even more suspicious, the location tagged in the photo wasn't in her village. It was in an inn on the outskirts of Sihanoukville. Samnang's heart sank. His wife had told him she was in the village, yet the location in the story didn't match. Why was she at an inn so far from home? His suspicions were starting to grow, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. This is when Samnang's suspicions really started to grow. He began wondering if maybe Moni was having an impromptu consultation with Dr. Vutha, which could explain why they were both at the same place. But Moni had told him she was going home for a family event, and something about that didn't sit right. Samnang called her several times, but she didn't pick up. He texted, but there was no response either. At this point, he was feeling uneasy, so he decided to go to Dr. Vutha's clinic. When he got there, the staff told him that the doctor was out of town on vacation and wouldn't be back until next week. They did offer a substitute doctor, but that didn't ease Samnang's worries. It only made him more convinced that Moni was with the doctor. He'd even asked the clinic staff for Dr. Vutha's personal number before, but they refused to give it to him. With his wife still unreachable, Samnang tried calling the inn where he suspected Moni might be staying. They wouldn't tell him anything about the guests. He even considered going there in person, but his manager refused to let him take time off, citing tight deadlines at work. So, he continued working, trying to stay busy, but the nagging feeling of something being wrong wouldn't leave him. By Sunday, Moni still hadn't returned, and her phone remained off. Samnang was becoming more anxious. He tried calling his in-laws to see if Moni had gone back to their house, but they told him she wasn't there. Now he was really starting to panic. On March 11, 2019, in the afternoon, Samnang returned to Dr. Vutha's clinic, hoping for some answers. But the staff told him that the doctor had already left for the day and suggested he come back the next morning. Confused and frustrated, Samnang couldn't understand where Moni had gone if Dr. Vutha was back at the inn. At this point, Samnang was desperate. He returned to their rental house, trying to search for Dr. Vutha's address online, but couldn't find anything. His only thought was to report Moni missing to the police if she didn't come back by noon the next day. Deep down, he couldn't shake the fear that something terrible had happened. Maybe Moni had been hurt by the doctor, or worse. But all he could do was hope and pray that things weren't as bad as they seemed. On the morning of March 13, 2019, around 8 a.m., Samnang was woken up by a loud banging on his door, followed by the incessant ringing of the doorbell. He groggily got out of bed and opened the door, only to be met by several police officers with tragic news. They told him that his wife, Moni, had been found lifeless on the beach at around 3 a.m. Samnang collapsed, overcome with grief, and let out a heart-wrenching scream. This was his worst fear, and it had come true. He immediately mentioned Dr. Vutha's name to the officers, believing that the doctor was somehow responsible for what had happened. But the police informed him that the perpetrator had already been arrested. It was Lida, the doctor's wife, who had turned herself in after the incident. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Samnang's suspicions had been right. His wife had been involved with Dr. Vutha months before the tragic event. Moni and the doctor had been meeting in secret while Samnang was away at work. In fact, Moni had a secret WhatsApp account that she only used to communicate with Dr. Vutha, and it was hidden in a second room of her phone, an Android feature that lets you store messages or apps away from prying eyes. The plan to stay at the inn had been in motion for some time, under the guise of a family event in the village. The problem was, Moni was worried that if Samnang got suspicious, he'd follow her. So, the doctor had told his wife, Lida, that he had an event out of town, but Lida didn't buy it. She'd already been suspicious about her husband's behavior, especially after the confrontation with Mr. Bunna, which had revealed his affair with Sahib. On the day of Moni's disappearance, Lida decided to follow her husband to the inn, suspecting he was meeting Moni there. When they arrived, an argument broke out between the three of them. In the heat of the moment, Lida threw Moni's phone against the wall, breaking it. Dr. Vutha, trying to keep the peace, told Moni to leave and head back to Sihanoukville. He arranged for a hotel near his clinic for Moni to stay, fearing that his wife would report the affair to Samnang. So, while Samnang was searching frantically, Moni was hiding out in a hotel near the port of Sihanoukville, hoping things would calm down. Lida had no idea where Moni was staying. She had thought about telling Samnang everything, but since Dr. Vutha had been avoiding going home for days, staying with Moni at a hotel, Lida didn't know which one. But on March 13, 2019, while driving around, she spotted Dr. Vutha's car parked near the beach. She immediately went to investigate and saw Moni in the car with him. Enraged, Lida confronted them both. The doctor, fearing for his safety with Lida carrying a sharp object, ran off, leaving Moni alone. Unable to defend herself, Moni was attacked by Lida. Tragically, Moni didn't survive the assault and passed away at just 28 years old. Lida, realizing the gravity of what she'd done, turned herself in to the authorities a few days later. The trial at the Sihanoukville City High Court was packed with people. Samnang was heartbroken and furious, struggling to accept the reality of his wife's death. At first, he didn't believe Lida's version of events, but when evidence from voice notes and WhatsApp chats on Moni's secret phone number were presented, it became clear that his wife had been hiding a lot from him. Moni had been lying, and the truth hurt. During the trial, Ms. Sahib and her husband also testified about Dr. Vutha's past inappropriate behavior, with Sahib revealing that the doctor had flirted with her for months, promising her money if she would submit to his advances. Sopheap expressed her regret and asked the court to punish the doctor as well. But the story didn't end there. A few days later, 5 other women, all former patients of Dr. Vutha, came forward to report similar experiences. Many of them had been subjected to inappropriate behavior in the doctor's clinic, but only one woman, named Fala, was brave enough to testify in court. She revealed the shocking details. At first, it was consensual, but over time, the doctor started threatening me. His desires went beyond normal, and he wanted things I was uncomfortable with. He preferred things done from behind, which made me uneasy, and I knew I had to end things with him. Fala even confided in Lida about the doctor's behavior, but Lida had kicked her out of the house in anger. So, Fala, feeling humiliated and unsafe, chose to remain silent and walk away from the situation. On the other hand, Moni's behavior didn't stop there. As the investigation unfolded, one of her gym friends came forward, revealing that Moni had been involved with her trainer, a man named Sambath. He was called in for questioning, and after being threatened with severe punishment, he finally confessed everything to the investigators. Sambath admitted that he had been forced to comply with Moni's demands after their gym sessions. At first, he felt sorry for her because Moni would often vent about how her husband never showed her any affection. Eventually, things escalated in the trainer's boarding room, where the two of them got involved on 3 separate occasions. Sambath felt guilty afterward, but Moni kept pressuring him for more. However, things took a dark turn when Moni secretly recorded their encounters and threatened to send the videos to Sambath's wife. Terrified, Sambath complied with her demands, servicing her at least 2 or 3 times a week, fearing the fallout if the videos were ever exposed. Despite all this, he insisted that he had no involvement in Moni's death on the beach. Fast forward to November 2, 2019, when the court delivered its verdict. Lida, the doctor's wife, received some leniency in light of her actions to protect her family's honor. She was found guilty of taking Moni's life and sentenced to 8 years in prison. Moni's parents pushed Samnang to appeal the verdict, arguing that it was far too light given that their daughter's life had been taken. But Samnang, despite his grief, couldn't bring himself to do it. He knew his wife's actions had been horrendous, and the affair with the doctor, along with the betrayal involving her trainer, had pushed things too far. He was particularly enraged by her claim that her husband had never touched her. However, despite everything, Samnang couldn't bring himself to seek further punishment for Lida. He felt that, in some way, Lida was also a victim in all of this. Meanwhile, in December 2020, Dr. Vutha was sentenced to 1 year in prison for his crimes, which included misconduct and threatening several of his female patients. The doctor appealed the verdict in February 2020, but after a retrial, his sentence was increased by 3 months, making it 15 months in total. During this time, Lida filed for divorce while both she and her husband were in detention. They officially separated at the end of March 2020. As for Sambath, he was sentenced to 2 months in prison for his affair with Moni and the misconduct that followed. What lessons can we learn from this story?